Today we'll be checking out Genghis Khan. This guy is known as one of the greatest conquerors in the history of the world, and I'm really looking forward to this video. The title is The Unspeakable Things Genghis Khan Did to His Enemies. That sounds really scary. Unspeakable. When they say unspeakable, that means it was so bad that nobody even wants to speak about it. So let's see what he did to them. Like the video on your way in. Help me out, get this video out to more people. I really appreciate it. Let's get right into it.
In the 13th and 14th centuries, the Mongols established the largest land empire in human history.
Yeah,
At
I'm
its
aware of
furthest
that.
extent, the Mongolian Empire stretched from the coast of China along the northern border of the Himalayas, encompassing much of today's Middle East, from Persia to the Black Sea, much of south-central Russia and Ukraine,
What?
and Europe
It reached
to the
that
gates of
point?
Vienna.
It
This
reached
was done on
that
foot,
area?
wagon, and most famously on horseback. By the time the
Wow,
Mongols
that is
reached the
incredible,
eastern
man.
borders of Ukraine in the late 1200s, some of their armies numbered 100,000. But it was not their numbers that were the Mongols' primary weapon. Terror was. That policy of terror started with their first great leader, the
Genghis
infamous
Khan.
Genghis Khan. He is not infamous everywhere. The Great Khan, as he is also known, is still a national hero in Mongolia today. Khan means ruler or chieftain. Genghis Khan means universal ruler. The Mongolians ruled such a vast empire.
I actually thought that was his real name. Okay. This is why I love this channel. I learn stuff every day. So I just learned that one now. Okay, I thought that was his real name. So it's like a title.
That the name is barely an exaggeration. Even before the ascension of Genghis to the leadership of all the Mongol tribes, Mongol society was a brutal one. Like the Vikings on the other side of the globe, the Mongolians were often known for the brutal murders of their kin, especially when it came to the ruling class or those who wanted to rule.
Wow.
Eliminating all other lines of one's family ensured their children would inherit their positions and power. Genghis's real name was Temujin, which means of iron. Like a certain Soviet leader some 700 years later, Temujin needed to be made of iron to survive. Unlike Stalin, Temujin killed his first person at age 14. That was his half-brother. Many stories about
What
this
the
episode
hell?
that Genghis's older half-brother, Beta, stole a fish that Temujin killed for the night's meal and ate it all himself, refusing to share with his family. Soon after, Temujin secretly followed Beta, waiting for him to be alone, and then shot him with one of the famous Mongol recurved bows. Another version of the story adds that
there are
Beta,
many versions of
his
it.
brother, began to order people around.
I mean,
This caused
that is not
resentment.
surprising. This kind of stories, like usually stories that when there was no video, no nothing at that point in time, you just hear a particular version of each of the story from different people. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised because there was no video evidence at that point in time. So yeah.
On the part of Temujin and his younger full brother, Kasar. There may or may not have been food involved, but in this version, Temujin simply used Beta's greed as an excuse to kill him and moved to take control of the clan himself. This was not unexpected or unusual. Finding out about the death of Beta, the boy's mother basically gave her murderous son a scolding. Life was hard in the time of Genghis Khan, who lived from around 1162
Wow.
to 1215 AD.
Okay.
Genghis did not become the Khan of all the Mongols until he was about 44 years old, but at the age of 20, he was an up-and-coming military leader in command of his own clan army. One of the first things he did with that army was to seek revenge for his father's murder. You'd better get used to it. There is an awful lot of murder in the life of Genghis Khan and the Mongols. Temujin's father was killed
can't
by a group
imagine.
of Tatars who have an unfortunate history. They were driven west by the Mongols, settled in southern Russia, Ukraine and Crimea, and were deported en masse by Stalin for their refusal to follow his dictates to his liking. Hundreds of years before, they got on the wrong side of another dictator, Genghis Khan, whose father had been poisoned by the Tatars at a wedding. 11 years later, Temujin cornered the main Tatar army and camp, slaughtering many in battle and taking thousands of prisoners, men, women, and children. As collective punishment for the murder of his father Yasuge, Genghis ordered that all people over a certain age were to be killed. To illustrate what he meant, he strolled over to a wagon and marked the height on a wheel, 3 feet. Everyone was killed, except some young children and infants. Yes, there used to be pyramids in China. They were built, so to speak, by the Mongolians as a lesson for all who thought about opposing them. The Mongol pyramids were erected by order of Genghis Khan in 1215, and they were built outside of the city of Beijing after a 3-year Mongol siege. Genghis's siege caused the people of Beijing to turn to cannibalism to survive. Likely wouldn't have survived anyway. Genghis put tens of thousands of them to death. Travelers and diplomats who saw them swore they saw pyramids in the distance. They were indeed pyramids of human skulls, perhaps 50 feet high.
Whoa!
And there were many of them. During Genghis's life and after, the Mongols followed a regular pattern. When approaching an enemy city, they would send an offer along with a warning.
An offer I cannot refuse.
Surrender and you will be relatively unharmed. Resist and we will kill you all. It's estimated that just during Genghis's life, and his time at the top was relatively short, that between 5 to 10% of the world's population was killed or died as a result of his campaigns. Remember, the Mongols traveled on horseback, and their main weapons were the sword and the bow. This was bloody, face-to-face slaughter. The female black widow spider eats the male after they mate. In a very similar way, the daughters of Genghis Khan played black widow to those they were married off to. Marriage among the ruling Mongols and their allies and enemies of the steppes is very similar to what you might have read about medieval Europe. Daughters were commodities. They could be married off to cement relations between allies or bring an end to war. In the case of Genghis's many daughters, they could end a dynasty and begin another one. To marry into the family of the great Khan conferred prestige and power on the groom and his family. Usually this power and prestige was short-lived, for as payment for marrying into Genghis's family, a tribal ruler had to get rid of all his other wives. It would be Genghis's line that inherited the throne. There could be no competition. The groom was then promoted to high command, in the front lines, where almost all of them were killed.
Died. Yeah.
So who would rule until her sons were old enough? Genghis's daughters. With each death, Genghis's empire expanded, and no one was under any illusion who his daughters took their orders from. The Khwarezm lived in the area north of today's Iran
crazy.
and just south of the Aral Sea. For a time before the rise of Genghis, they had a powerful and advanced empire in the area. What remains of their civilization shows advanced architectural and mathematical skills. Unfortunately for the Khwarezm, that's about all that's left. Cause, you know, Genghis Khan. When the Khan's armies approached the capital of Khwarezm, he behaved peacefully and sent a delegation to negotiate with his adversaries. Khwarezm made a bad choice. They beheaded the Mongol diplomats.
Whoa! You don't fuck up. You don't fuck up.
Worse, if that's even possible with Genghis Khan at your gates. The Khwarezm then killed another group of Mongols, sent to find an agreement. As you can probably guess, this did not sit well with Temujin, aka Genghis Khan. He sent an army of 200,000 men, and they killed everyone they could find. Then he ordered his soldiers to destroy, as in erase, all the Khwarezm castles, farms, fortresses, houses, and everything else. The Mongols missed a couple of remote mosques, but for all intents and purposes, the Khwarezm were made extinct. Their bones were even ground into dust when the Mongols advanced again sometime later. He even ordered a river diverted to cover up all traces of the Khwarezm. Generally, making a bad decision when dealing with the great Khan was not something you survived.
Damn.
Those to learn that lesson the hard way. And rarely was there any other way, were the Shashia people
the
steppes near the borders of Khwarezm. The Shashia had been conquered by the Mongols, and Genghis Khan expected them to send troops to help destroy the Khwarezm, which they did not. Soon after, Genghis recognized their disobedience. He sent an army to deal with the Shashia, and every last one was killed. Every last one. Actually, people wouldn't have even known of the Shashia.
The hell?
Stories of them hadn't been kept alive in the oral histories of the surrounding people. So many people were killed that the Shashia language.
Damn, this guy was brutal, man. This guy was fucking brutal. Man, guys, look at that. I know about Genghis Khan. I've heard about him. Like, this is not like the first time I've heard about him. I know that one of the biggest stories I know about him is that I think, like they say, 1 out of 3 of all Asians, or is it all Asians or maybe Chinese people? I don't know, but 1 out of 3 of some Asian set of people have Genghis Khan's genes, meaning, you know, he spread his genes all over the place. I mean, the guy was all over the place, man. Good for him. But I really doubt a lot of those relations to those women were consensual. Seriously, like, actually, I don't doubt. I know they were not consensual. I mean, like, what the hell? This is... I need to check out more stories about this guy, man. This video is like a summary of what he did to his enemies. So obviously, there should be other videos about his whole history in terms of like his conquering and all that stuff. I really like to check it out. Seriously, like this is scary and interesting at the same time. Like I know it's scary and it's actually ridiculous to imagine in your head. But it's always nice to see these stories like this for you to be reminded of the peaceful time that you're living in. Even someone like me that is in a third world country that we are way far from perfect. I'm still living in luxury compared to what a lot of people had to go through during this period of time. Seriously, like ridiculous. I mean, that is mad, man. That is really mad.
Was extinguished for several hundred years before historians found carved stones
in a
language they did not recognize. After careful study, they realized that the only traces left of a once flourishing culture were a few carved rocks. The Shashia might have gotten the final revenge, however, for during this battle,
they killed Khan.
Genghis Khan was thrown from his horse and died from his injuries in 1215.
I guess that's a nice
Genghis's
revenge.
body was taken back to his homelands to be buried. He was reportedly buried with so much treasure that nations would have been interested in finding the site. Historians today believe that it's more likely that he was buried in a traditional simple Mongol grave, so no one would be tempted to desecrate the grave of the mightiest conqueror the world had ever seen. What's more, every man that witnessed...
Wait. They buried him with a lot of treasures. I mean, that should be a movie script. That would be a very nice movie script. Like, you know, the search for Genghis Khan's grave, where you can go and see all these treasures. That would be a nice. I mean, I need to go and meet some Hollywood producers. Seriously, they need to make this. Maybe give me some cut of the preliminary money. I'm just playing, but like. Seriously, like this is crazy. So nobody knows where his grave is. Nobody. So what are the people that helped to do the grave? Where are they? Didn't they tell someone? That is crazy, man.
The location of the grave was also killed, so no one could be sure where the grave was.
Wow!
Mongols have a belief
they
that
killed
someday
them.
The Khan of Khans will rise again and lead them to greatness.
Wow, they really believe that.
Undisturbed.
He's dead now, he's dead.
We hope you enjoyed these ruthless and grisly tales from the life of Genghis
I really
Khan.
enjoyed it. Gruesome though, but I enjoyed it. Wow, I'm definitely checking out more of Genghis Khan in the future. Definitely. You guys, if you have any suggestion for any video that I should check out about Genghis Khan, put it down in the comments. I'll check it out in the future. Obviously, I cannot be sure when I'll do it exactly, but definitely. This guy has a very interesting story, gruesome story, but you just need to eat a very good food, allow it to digest first, then watch the video. That's what you need to do. And obviously, it's being put in cartoonish videos, so it doesn't. The gruesomeness is not really something that can really affect you per se, like except compared to like if it was like human beings being shown. So. I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did as well. If you did, hit that like button to get this video out to more people, to help me out in my channel, guys. You guys don't hit that like button. Please hit the like button. It takes nothing away from you. Please, guys, just carry your finger and hit that like button. That's all you have to do for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.